Okay, so you want to get aesthetic, but you have some problems. Maybe you've been training for a while. Maybe you've been training for a while, but you just can't seem to get the aesthetic look. Maybe you've been training for a while, but you just don't know what to do anymore. You want some real advice from someone with experience like me. They are the right video. So, what is being aesthetic? I want to start with this. It's a really good starting point. What is aesthetic? Being aesthetic means having a balanced physique. It means having a complete picture of the body that you want. Everything needs to be balanced out. Everything needs to come together and create a nice picture. So, for example, I have a good analogy. Let's say you're painting. You know, painting is all about the details. You can paint a nice beach, a sun, a sea. But if that's it, you can paint a really nice sea, a really nice sun. But if that's it, it's not going to feel complete, is it? And that's the same with if you have some big arms, if you have a big chest. Okay, but you need everything else. So it's all in the details. It's all about the complete look, the complete image. It's when you focus on the details in painting where the whole image is just wow. If you just can look at the image and you can look at the picture for hours and still see some new details, that's just where you're wow, that's the wow effect. And the same is with the aesthetic physique. If you have a nice, well-balanced physique, everything is balanced out, then you tend to seem a lot bigger than you actually are, because you just have the nice image, you just have the nice all-round look. So that brings you to my first point: train smart. Make sure to hit every muscle part evenly. Make sure that every muscle just fits together and composes nice into one big picture. You know, if you're neglecting side delts, if you're neglecting lats or neck, then you just don't have the full image. You know, you don't have the full package that you want, and you're not going to have that wow effect. So train every muscle equally. Make sure that everything fits nicely, that is just nice to look at, and you know what I'm talking about. You know if you're neglecting some parts of your body. Like neck training gets really neglected, legs also, you know, obliques or bottom abs. If you only have the upper abs, then it's not going to look as good as if you have all the abs combined together. Even though if you have a bit of all the abs, it's better than having a lot of upper abs and middle abs, you know, because the whole image together is just going to give you that wow effect. So yeah, that's the probably the most important part about having an aesthetic physique. That's going to give the wow effect. So keep that in mind. Also, what I want to say by this is not every muscle is aesthetic as the other ones. You know, side delts, the lats, the neck, that's really gonna make you seem aesthetic even with clothes on, you know, because you can see it through the clothes. You know, it's a side delts poking through your shirt or your hoodie that makes you look big together with your neck. You can have a big jacket on, everything. If you see that someone has a big neck like Mike Tyson, you just know he's muscular all over his body. But it's not in reverse. You can have people who are really big, really muscular, but if they have a skinny neck, then you're just going to think they're skinny even if they have clothes on. So that's not what you want, right? So yeah, don't neglect neck, don't neglect side delts, and just don't neglect anything. Just make a training routine where you hit every part of your body. And that's going to give you that nice aesthetic physique look effect and a wow effect. Next thing is, and this I see this a lot in the gym, and it just blows my mind over and over again. People are so lazy even if they're going to the gym. They're just half-assing their work. If you're in the gym for an hour, then at least go as hard as you can for an hour. Why would you do less than 100%? And not every workout can be great. You know, I have shitty workouts too. Everyone has shitty workouts. But even if you have a shitty workout, even if you're not feeling it that day, just try to make it the best you can. Try to go to failure on the last set every time, because that's the most important. You know, that last extra push is going to make the most muscle. It's going to damage the muscle the most, you know. If you go to failure, you know, the burning sensation is really your friend. You know, you're only tearing the muscles if you feel the burn. Otherwise, it's just not going to, otherwise you're just wasting time, you know. Otherwise, you're just having 60% effectiveness out of your workout instead of 100%, you know, and that's almost halving your progress in the long term, in the long run. If you do nonchalantly work out for a year, then you just miss a year of progress if you went all out. I hope you can understand that. So yeah, the next point is eat well, you know. When I was young, when I started working out, I was eating really bad. I still made a lot of muscle. I still got aesthetic. But if I would just eat accordingly back then I would have been faster where I am now. And I would have had a much more greater physique when I was young. I still had a great physique, you know. It's not all about the eating. You know, going to failure, training really hard, making sure you train smart, that's the most important overall. Eating is also important, but not as important. But make sure you fucking eat your eggs after your workout with some protein, because that really makes a difference. Okay. Last point I want to talk about is make a routine. Make a routine. Try out all the exercise you want, but if you have a routine that works for you, if you have the exercise that you like, stop switching around. Just stick to that, you know? If you're constantly switching exercises, it's just going to fuck with your head. You know, if something works, then you should go with it. You know, why would you change something? You know, if you have a strategy that works, just keep doing that strategy, improving on that strategy, and maybe here and there you can change something. But I wouldn't recommend that changing it all around, because that's gonna fuck with your consistency. And that's gonna fuck with your progress, you know? So yeah. Last point I want to say, I'm doing free coaching. So if you want some free coaching from me, then send me a DM. My Instagram will be in the bio. And yeah, if you want some free coaching, if you have some questions for me, if you want some help, I'm doing some free coaching. I'm glad to help you guys, so I can also see the problems you guys have and make better videos to help you guys even better. So yeah, just send me a DM. If I don't respond or you can't find my Instagram, then just reply under this video and we'll make something work. Till next time.